Good evening. I'm Alice Bloom, and with me is Ken Barron, my trusty co-host, and we're going to be guiding you through the Mamaroneck Village Firemen's Parade for the upteenth time.
There you go. We've been at this for a few nights. But we're having a whole new experience here this evening. They've actually moved us over a couple blocks from Mamaroneck Avenue. We're sitting in the studio watching this parade on television, much like you are. They were concerned about the possible bad weather that might come along with all their electronics.
Right.
So if we fumble a bit, we're in a new position.
Well, you know, Ken, let's tell folks what they're seeing at home.
All right. Right at the moment, the lead band coming through is the New York City Police Department Band, which has officiated at a number of our parades in the last few years. Followed by the three gentlemen behind are the three chiefs of department. We have Robert Pescia in the middle. And, well, they've kind of passed you by, and you're now seeing their car. But first, the second chief was Craig Castarella, second assistant chief Tracy Schmeling, and their trusty car just going out of the picture.
Driven by ex-captain Tom Hensler. We want to give credit where it's due, and we'll do the best to tell you what it is you're seeing. We have a great parade, 34 different contingents
Yeah, this
tonight.
is one of the larger ones. Some of the departments that haven't answered up in the last few years. And these are the remaining two chief cars. Each chief in the department has a car assigned to him.
Okay, and they're going to be followed, actually, by some very distinguished, longtime members of our department, of the fire department. And they should be coming in now. 72-year member Walter Weber Jr., driven by John Schuler. I wish we could come in close, but a very well-revered member of our department. Riding is Fire Department member Gerard Neville. Who's recently returned from a tour in Afghanistan.
There you go. Too bad we couldn't get a little more camera on, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're going to try to do that. Again, Ken, as you were saying earlier, this is a little different for us. Because the weather is so tentative, we've had to move indoors, although our cameras are on the street. And we're going to do the best we can for you, telling you what you're seeing and try to bring it to you. There's always a little bit of a lag between divisions till they kind of get it together.
This should be 71-year member James Comblow, who's a member of the Volunteer Engine Hose Company, the one down on the bend of Mamaroneck Avenue.
Okay, and he's driven by his son, Michael Comblow. Okay, sorry we weren't able to get in closer, but maybe we will a little bit later.
It looks like the Ladies Auxiliary President Florence Greta was going to be in a Chrysler Fiat, the little smaller car that Chrysler is spotlighting at this moment.
Should be coming. Ladies Auxiliary, wow. It's the vehicle is by the Larchmont Chrysler Fiat. It's not.
No, that's not it.
That's not it.
One of the reasons why there's probably only the president in the parade is most of these ladies are down.
Here she is, the Ladies Auxiliary, driven in a Fiat.
There you go.
Cute.
And the rest of her membership is at Harbor Island working diligently in the Pizza Frite booth down there, so please visit with them.
Okay. And soon we'll see the Explorer Post, 444.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I believe we got about 20 young folks, but here again, many of our own
here they come.
Are busy on details, so they're not always all marching.
Okay, so that's the Explorer Post. Those are the students who are aged 14 to 20, I think?
Yes, 14 to 20, and usually about age 18 we pull them out of the post and into the regular department. These folks are allowed to assist on outside things at fire scenes. They get to practice hose work. They get to go to school on our air packs, things of that nature.
Okay.
So develop an interest in the fire service.
Okay, so it's like a farm, right?
It's the Explorer Post. It's a Boy Scout operation, but they specialize in the fire service. The Explorer Post, if you're out in the farm country, they'd be farm people. If you're other places, they could be waterfronts.
Well, when I say farm, we often think of a prep school as a farm, feeding the department, educating them, and really
farm team.
I'm
sorry, I went to the
building their enthusiasm for the team. What are the credentials? They have to be between the ages of 14 and 20.
14 to 20, have reasonably good grades, basically not have any particular problems behind them that would keep you from being a member.
We'll talk a little bit more. We have
this is the village officials, I believe. We're up to the village officials.
I see Mayor Rosenblum. Oh, that's just great. And there's Rich Slingerland, our village manager. We've got Mr. Fusco over there. I see Leon Potok. Some of our newly elected trustees are there as well. I'm trying to get everybody's name. Andre Bermudez. I think Ilsa Miller was there. I don't know. The camera's just moved away a little bit. But we did see Rich Slingerland and Assistant Village Manager Dan Sarnoff. We did see Audie Fusco.
I believe this is more of our general officials from the different municipalities and county government.
Well, I think here we have Nancy Seligson, supervisor of the town of Mamaroneck. She's waving. She's in white shirt. And I see Jane Eney over there to the left. Ernie Odierna in the striped shirt. Oh, he's all decked out for the parade.
There you go.
Get that shirt. We're going to have to borrow it from him. It looks mighty, mighty nice.
All right. And this is the veteran, the VFW unit, in Post 90. And we're actually, I think we're getting a combination. We've got Post 90, Post 347, and we're also going to find shortly the Knights of Columbus Color Guard. So this is all part of the lead-off parade. Here you are, Knights of Columbus, Council.
I rely on you, Ken. You do such a great job at keeping me on target here.
Unfortunately, they didn't give us a list of names of who's appearing, so I apologize if somebody's uncle goes by and we don't get the name.
Right, we had a list of dignitaries, but we just couldn't get them all in. But we'll name them for you and tell you who it was you saw when we have a little bit of a break.
Okay, and this is our EMS service here in the village
EMS,
and the town.
Emergency Medical
Services and
how important
the group
they are.
Marching.
And they're going to be followed by the Larchmont Historical Society with 1922 American Levance.
Hey, best place to see an ambulance is in the parade.
Of course.
Not at your front door.
Well, it's nice to know it's there if you need it. And you never know when
You're
you need
absolutely
it.
never going to know.
And that's why this is such a great place to live. They're there within seconds.
As you're probably aware, there's the favorite hats of yours.
Oh, my hats.
There's your favorite hats. This is Larchmont Fire Department, and they used to, when I was a youngster, there used to be a couple dozen of these gentlemen marching with these flaming hats.
Well, they're calling them the Larchmont Historical Society, but those hats are treasures.
Yeah, and there's not many of them left. That is really a live torch on the top of their helmet.
Well, let's just hope there are not a lot of helmets left, but that we still have a lot of members left.
Well, actually, I think in those days they used it more for lighting than...
Ken, this is Miss Westchester 2013, Christy Abreu, with Miss Westchester 2013, Brittany Smith. Okay. Cute old car. It's privately owned by Rob Casanta. What a great old truck.
Yeah, there's a lot of workmanship in that. A lot of workmanship.
Yeah.
We got close to it.
I hope we see the old trucks today. They're just the treasures of the evening.
Yeah, this is also a privately owned fire truck. This is a 1974 Mack, this yellow and white one. Here again, some of the fellas as a hobby will go out and buy up old trucks and put them back together and parade with them. And there are some events around where they actually take them and compete with them in different kinds of antique events.
Can they actually be used in service?
They could be pushed into service, yes, but most of them aren't covered by the municipal government and insurance and things like that.
Okay, who do we see?
I believe we're moving up to the first division,
so that
which
would
is
be
probably
Harrison.
past chief. This is a color guard, which is probably the Danbury Drum Corps. I'm guessing since we
we can't hear them. This is
can't hear them, but I believe this is who we have.
Yeah, if we could come in close, maybe we'd see
something. Well, when we get to the drums, we'll probably see something on the drums.
Yeah. But that's who they're supposed to be.
Yep.
Danbury Drum Corps. Now, the various departments hire bands to be with them. So
yes, they do.
They're going to be leading in the Harrison Fire Department.
Yeah, the Harrison's going to be dreaming. It's the Danbury Drum Corps that's marching in front of Harrison.
Okay. And the division marshal was past Chief Anthony Valentine with Alex. And the marshal aide is Lieutenant Thomas Simpson.
Okay, this would be your Harrison Fire Department, and the gentleman in the white hat should be Nick Casamano. White hats usually denote chiefs or upper officers within the department.
Okay, I wish I could tell you everybody, but that'll have to do for this one. And, of course, our neighbors in Harrison. I'm sure they leave somebody home in case there's a fire.
Yeah, there's folks there.
They draw lots.
By the same token, if their beepers go off, they can go to the Boston Post Road, make a left, and be underway if necessary. Same happens when we get the town and the Larchmont folks in. They are on call if a problem were to arrive.
But do they draw lots or whatever to see who gets to march?
Yeah, they usually have what they call a rolling crew, 3 or 4 picked people who, in case of a call, will board and respond.
Okay. Because I would imagine it's an honor to be in the parade. It's kind of fun, especially on a nice night.
It's a party evening on a nice night. This has been a good night for a walk as long as we don't get any rain.
Well, it's also nice in the village of Mamaroneck because you're marching downhill.
Yeah, and we're only about a mile long, so it's not. Some of the walks out there are a lot longer.
A little reward for the firefighters when they get down to the harbor?
Yes, there is the bullpen.
Oh.
You know what goes on in the bullpen?
We don't have
Lots
cameras
of that
there.
stuff.
We don't have cameras there, and why is that? Fun and games.
Definitely beer and hot dogs. And soft drinks.
Now this is still Harrison.
They brought it all.
Okay.
It looks like they brought it all.
Now we also have to remark that this is the week of the carnival in the park.
Yes, it is. Started Friday evening, runs through Saturday evening, and as you all are aware, on the 4th of July, along with the village, we support the fireworks.
Right, the fire department pays for and puts on the fireworks.
It's become part of the village.
A little shared enterprise there.
Enterprise.
Okay. Because I know that the carnival is a fundraiser.
Yes, it is a fundraiser. We use it to support our social events, and actually things like this are paid for. There is a certain amount of expense to put more of these on.
Okay, to put on the
parade.
Particularly
beer and hot dogs.
I understand. What kind of beer?
I don't know. We'll have to go down and check it out.
Check that out. Well, we do have standards here, you know. Okay, so this is still Harrison. Those guys are...
I think they brought it all.
Yeah.
But they're close enough, as I say.
Now, how have you seen the equipment evolve over the years?
Big.
It's
everything is growing. It's just larger, heavier, carries more weight, carries more equipment. Lots of electronic communications equipment. And these aerial devices are really becoming big. Considering that thing will go up 100 foot in the air with a bucket off the end of it, you couldn't put it on something that's light. So
sure,
they do weigh up. The weight gets up there.
I'm assuming that's coming to be because buildings are bigger.
Yes, they are. And the type of construction and other things. And there's always the safety issues. It's a lot easier to work on a building out of a bucket to get around and ventilate through windows and things like that.
Well, another old truck.
Now this is an old one. If you looked at the size of what went by versus what this is coming from the Pelham Fire Department.
What a little treasure
this is a 1924 vehicle, so you can see a lot of the differences if you look closely. Look how close he is to the front bumper. I mean, you know.
Well, look at the little bell on the front.
And you'll notice there's no windshield in front of him, so he's out in the weather. Mm-hmm. Fun to drive in a snowstorm.
I'll bet there's no seatbelt either. And look at the little ladder that was on that.
Right. Well, here again, most of them were smaller buildings. They didn't make as many of the tall ones back then.
Now, pacing a parade is pretty tough. You've got people who've arrived at different times and people who march at different paces, and they're coming up from about Mamaroneck Avenue School.
Yeah, actually, if you were to go to Mamaroneck Avenue School, all of the side streets down there are different divisions. So what they'll do is pick one of the streets, and that would be Division 1, and then assign another street Division 2. And as the units come into town, they check with the sign-in people and position accordingly, and then as we step off.
Right. But we also, we have a list of marching order, but from time to time that changes because sometimes somebody arrives late and they haven't made the...
Yeah, towards the end of the parade we may find some changes. The other thing that happens here, we get these breaks like you have now. You have to keep in mind that Route 1 is a major thoroughfare, and we do have to continue to allow traffic to flow up the Boston Post Road. Okay. So you'll get these breaks so that they can allow the traffic on the Post Road to move through town.
Sure. You know what? Let's just take a moment and identify some of the other dignitaries who passed by so quickly we couldn't really talk about them. We had Town of Rye Supervisor Joe Carvin, Congresswoman Nita Lowy, State Senator George Latimer, Assemblyman Steve Otis, County Legislator Judy Myers, Reverend Wayne Powell from the Straight Gate Church, Reverend Richard Allen from the United Methodist Church, Marv Hank from St. John's Church, Monsignor James White from St. Vito's, and Rev. Deb Tamaro from St. Thomas's Church, Rev. Yasim Harris from the AME Zion Church, and Rabbi Siegelman from the Westchester Jewish Center. Okay, Ken, who do we have here?
Miss Ann, didn't you?
No, she was not there. Okay, and who are we looking at now?
Okay, we've got here, I believe we're looking at Company B, which is the name of this band. All right, and they're going to be leading the Portchester Fire Department.
Okay. Company B, that's a band I don't remember hearing before.
No, I don't remember hearing that one, and I'm disappointed that we can't hear it.
I know. That is one of the things we'll have to rectify. We can't hear the bands.
Washington Engine, Portchester. So this is the Portchester Fire Department, and if you get a shot of the line of march, they're usually one of the larger assemblies that we have in the department. They're marching 3 across, and not able to count, but if we don't have 50 guys in line, we probably don't have any.
Okay, well that's good. You notice how relaxed they look? I'm sure that if we had a camera shot of them up, about 100 yards up the street in front of the reviewing stand, it might be a very different contingent than we were
that's
seeing.
where the judges are. Once
Right.
they get past the judging, they do lighten up.
Okay, yeah, everybody sort of relaxes.
And they're getting closer to the beer and hot dogs.
No, but the reviewing stands, a lot of people don't know that they're marching for trophies.
Yes, there are definitely. They look at how smart they march, how well dressed they are. There's also what they call regulation uniforms, non-regulation uniforms. So there's a lot of things that they get judged on.
Yeah, so, and that's a big badge of honor. People are, want to bring home as many trophies as they can, right?
They all have trophy rooms, and they're thrilled to fill them.
I see. Where's our trophy room now?
There's one, the new building. There's 2 trophy rooms actually up there. And each of the firehouses always have cabinets along the walls with the different collected trophies.
I remember them in the old firehouse on Mamaroneck Avenue. Was that Mamro?
That was Hook and Ladder.
Hook and Ladder. I never can keep them straight. But that was Hook and Ladder, and I remember the first time I went back there after a parade, and I was just amazed at a beautiful cabinet filled with trophies.
We still have the beautiful cabinet. It did move with us.
Yeah. And is it still filled with the trophies?
Yes, and we've actually spread them around as we have a little more space. We've actually added cabinetry so that we can add to the trophy collection.
Okay. All right, so this
is Engine 60 here again, still in the Portchester Fire District. And you'll notice it says Reliance Engine and Hoses. They go back to the years when they were first formed. Everybody had a neighborhood name of one type or another. I think this is Harry Hayes, if I remember right, which was one of Harry Howard, which was one of their earlier members. That's a house on Westchester Avenue, just up from the railroad a ways.
Interesting. So each truck has all kinds of insignias that denote,
a lot of them
commemorate different people or events.
Along with their assignment, it's here that you'll notice this says Rescue 40. So they're primarily a rescue unit more than that. While they can fight with water and other things, they're primarily there for the rescue functions.
What's the difference? I mean, when you say rescue, you mean just to take people out of the fire?
Take people out, also preserve property. They'll carry tarps and equipment to pick up water, cover things, and attempt to save the structure beyond the fire damage.
I see. Oh, so everybody's got it. I never realized how things were broken down and that everyone had a task.
Yep.
And that was all, very well scripted. Okay, and who are we looking here? This looks like an honor guard.
This is definitely an honor guard, and I'm not sure.
You see, we say we're.
This might be North White Plains,
right?
I think we're looking at.
That's good. We're joined by one of our local dignitaries now, Mayor Norm Rosenblum from the village of Mamaroneck. Welcome. You look mighty smart, young man.
Thank you very much.
Marching out there.
I'm not even concerned about the lights because marching in the parade, I'm well conditioned to see under the lights.
Right.
Although we did luck out. Beautiful weather.
Oh, I think we're going to get through the parade all right.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what will happen.
It's a blessed place.
Oh, well, we had to move equipment inside because it was just a little bit too tentative and too hard, and the equipment would have been damaged if it got rained on. So, and we had no real way to protect it. So we are in here, and I miss being on the street watching the parade and hearing it all. But it does allow us to talk, which is really quite nice. We do want to be mindful that we're helping folks understand what it is they're seeing on the screen, and that was the division from North White Plains.
Yes.
But, Mayor, thank you for joining us. So, tell me, you had your entire board with you today.
Yes, we had the board. We have.
Is that a regular meeting?
No, it's we're not discussing any business, so that's okay. It's not a regular meeting. Okay. And they all go down to the bullpen and eat, so it's okay.
And maybe have
no violation of the open meetings law, right? Hoist a few, right? Or many.
Oh, it's a fun night. I think everyone
yes, absolutely. It's over 50 years?
Oh, yeah, we're up in the 60th.
60
years.
Well,
it's the 66th carnival.
So
right.
It's got to give us the 65th parade.
Well, was there always a parade with the carnival?
I think there was one year we missed for one reason or another.
Okay, so
well, the building on the right, if you notice, that was my uncle's building as probably a 4 or 5 year old, which would have been the first parade. I remember watching out of the window. So it's a fantastic annual event in the village of Mamaroneck, and I can estimate roughly from walking, there must be at least 15,000 people in the village.
Is that right?
It was phenomenal.
It looks like the streets are completely lined.
From where we started by Mamaroneck Avenue School, it was packed all the way up. It's the first time I've ever seen that.
Maybe it's a little better that it's a little bit overcast. Maybe it's a little cooler. It was quite hot for a while this afternoon.
Right.
Let's just stop for a moment and tell people what they're seeing.
We got the Westchester Firefighter Pipe and Drum Band coming along. As you can see on the banner that's showing on the screen. So
they're the Emerald Society.
And we won't hear the pipes.
We are not going to hear it, but you folks at home are hearing the bagpipes. I like the bagpipes. I'll miss them, but I'll watch the show later, and I'll get to enjoy them. But we get to talk. So, Norm, how has the parade changed since you were a child? Is it a lot bigger than it was?
Every year it gets a little bigger. I think that certainly the ex-chief can qualify the fact that there are people, it's probably a waiting list to get into this parade.
Yeah, well, we send out a lot of invitations every year, and actually this year we've got 2 or 3 that haven't been with us in quite some period of time that stepped up and said they were coming, and bringing bands. So that adds quite a few more folks to the line of march.
I think.
Is there a limit on the number of continuous?
Oh, well, the only limit would be time constraints. Not that we're set for a particular time, but how long do you want the parade to be?
I see. Well, we have 34 contingents. I seem to remember now. We've been covering this. LMC has been covering this, and I've been involved in it for, I believe it's almost 20 years. I'm a city kid, and I came to Mamaroneck. I had a 3-year-old, and we went to the parade. He liked to sit at the end of the street, just watch the trucks come right at him. And I was just amazed. It was just wonderful. It was so much fun. And I remember asking our then director, Joe Windish, what about people who can't come out? Because there were, some nights when I couldn't, child was sick or whatever, he couldn't get out. And that's when we started to televise it. And so we've been doing it for about 20 years.
I think an important point, which I raise all the time, we've discussed it ourselves, is that the Village of Mamaroneck is an all-volunteer fire department. And many of the departments, both paid and volunteer here, but a great percentage of participants are volunteers throughout the county, and it's great. There's aside from a safety issue, there's a social issue. I mean, it's the greatest and largest social group in the Village of Mamaroneck that these volunteers, I say it over and over again, not only the Fireman's Parade, but the Fireman's Carnival and all the other events in the Village of Mamaroneck. You guys are great.
Were you ever a member of the fire department?
No. The only thing I've done is I'm a member of the Jim Roseboom / FDNY official NASCAR race team and raise money for the Widows and Children's Fund. Actually, that's why I carried this banner, and it was apropos to honor the 19 firemen that perished in Arizona, because that was the largest unfortunate incident
really
since 9/11.
What a horror. What a desperately
and
heartbreaking
a lot of people
situation.
wanted to know, so that's why we did this thing.
Yes. Well, is our fire department going to be doing anything to commemorate that? I understand that people are trying. Well, there's been a lot of people who've flown out to Arizona to assist with this horrible fire they have not been able to bring under control.
Yeah. However, forest fire is a different skill than the type of fires that we deal with. We don't have 20 miles of fire front. Do you know where 20 miles of fire front would take you here in Westchester County?
To New York.
It's a different challenge.
It's a different
Ken,
challenge.
tell me who we're seeing here.
We were at Rye. I think we are looking at the troops of Rye, I do believe.
Different skills, I guess, different types of fires and different training. Which brings me to another point. I mean, the Village of Mamaroneck firefighters, even though they're volunteers, are very well trained.
Absolutely.
And are trained by the county of Westchester?
Yes,
by the county
they are.
and other divisions.
Yes, the county of the primary training is actually state mandated, New York State mandated. and the mandates are passed down like a lot of other things to the county government, and within the county government we have the emergency services unit that handles out of the Westchester County Center area up there. And we have school, we have training grounds.
Right, but it's required. Even though you're a volunteer, nobody gets to beg off.
In order to be properly qualified, you have to go through the schools. The basic school's about 75 hours, I do believe, of training, and then you're listed as a firefighter. Prior to that, you're a recruit. So once you complete the basic fire training schedules, which teaches them about all the equipment, how to use the breathing apparatus, the reasons for wearing turnout gear, and all the things.
There's so much to learn.
And the nomenclature, that's part of it.
Do we ever have firefighters who are trained as volunteers who then participate in our fire department but go on to be professional firefighters?
You'd be surprised how many of them are in our ranks. And yes, a lot of them are career elsewhere, and they're volunteer here. And many of the communities have the same issues. We have half a dozen of them that are New York City firefighters that are in our ranks. We have a number of them that are in the different departments around Westchester that are career firefighters. And they bring skills to us that we don't easily acquire. Particularly in some of the fellows that come out of New York City, they see more activity on a day-to-day basis than we do. Fortunately, we don't have that much activity.
Well, that's a good thing, for sure.
I think an important point also is that as an elected official, it's very important to not only have the training, but make sure you have the right equipment.
Absolutely.
Because you're really talking about the safety and welfare of not only the citizens you're protecting, but the firemen themselves. And there have been incidences that, thank God, we happen to have some equipment available to actually save someone's life, I believe.
Well, it's also significant that the village of Mamaroneck has a fire boat.
Yes.
How many communities can claim that?
Not many. I don't think Rye has theirs anymore, and I'm not positive of that. But we have that one, and then Yonkers has one over on the Hudson River, and up in the Dobbs Ferry area, Terrytown area, there's a fireboat. Okay. But there's not a lot of them out there.
And I believe it was a couple of years ago, our fireboat helped put out the fire in Larchmont.
Yes,
the barge.
Yep, that we did.
Luckily, we had the boat out.
Yep.
Well, we share when we participate. Okay, Ken, tell me who we're seeing here. Chief, is this the Stephen Driscoll Pipe Band?
11-foot Stephen.
Yeah.
I believe that's what we're looking at. Stephen Driscoll Pipe and Drum.
I usually keep track of how many bagpipe contingents there are. It's not something you see.
This should be the it is. Thornwood Fire Department was being led by them. Okay.
So a contingent can decide if they would like to have a band.
Yes, basically they hire those bands. The bands do get a fee for coming. Now look at the size of this piece of equipment that used to respond to fire. This is what they call the hose wagon. Primarily this was loaded with hose. It doesn't have a pump and other things like that on it, but it's a utility vehicle that would get hosed to the scene.
Am I just, just dreaming, or are we seeing more and more pieces of antique equipment again?
I think as money's getting a little better, there's a little more money being spent on antique equipment. We went through a kind of a dry period there for a few years. It's a hobby, like a lot of other hobbies. And Thornwood coming up, they've always liked yellow equipment, and they've added black paint in the last few years, so they get a different look. Well, we've talked about colors a few times.
We have talked about colors. We could never reach any consensus. They were green, they were yellow, they were red, they're back to red. I don't know.
I've always felt the red was the traditional, but a lot of other departments get away from it with color schemes,
now,
something
Mayor,
like this.
Is that a conversation that happens at the Board of Trustees? What color fire truck are we going to buy?
No, only the Board of Trustees. How much is it going to cost, and how are we going to pay for it?
Yes, it's not a small
that's usually
amount of money.
All these are set up by, there's committees within each of the fire departments that set up equipment buying committees, and they kind of determine what the color is going to be.
Actually, the village has set up in the past couple of years a capital improvement program. That we put away $200,000 a year. I figure every 5 years we're going to replace a piece of equipment.
How many pieces of equipment do we have?
5 major pieces, 7 major pieces. Actually, there's 5 pumpers and 2 ladder trucks are the major pieces of equipment.
And is that sort of the rule for a community our size?
Yes, the way remember when we set up this fire department 100-odd years ago, you didn't drive so quickly from Mamaroneck Avenue to the Harrison line. You were pulling stuff and their horses and things like that. So we've evolved from that. That's one of the reasons we have 4 separate buildings here in the
We have
district.
5 departments, but
5 companies.
5 companies, but 4.
Used to have 5 houses. Now we've combined Mamaroneck, Hook and Ladder over on Palmer Avenue.
Well, that brings us to an interesting subject. We may see the old firehouse, the Hook and Ladder, that's really been empty other than the haunted house use on Halloween. The mayor, of course, has been lying in state there for a long time. We've come to visit you, and lots of kids have been enjoying your...
I'm going to cut in here just for a minute. This bodega outfit comes from a long way out there.
Bogota. Or Bogota. Well, probably Bogota.
And
from New Jersey.
Usually they and one other company vie for the longest distance trophy. Totowa is the other one.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know if they're here tonight. We have to look at our list. Yes, that's right. That's one of the awards, longest distance travel.
Right. And they've actually come along with 10 members of the department. So.
Okay. Well, one last question, Mayor. As we were talking just a moment ago about the firehouse that has been empty for some time, is there a plan for its future use?
Actually, one of the potential uses we're looking at now is to bring LMC-TV into the building, and we're seriously discussing that without going to a long dissertation. But I believe, personally, I would like to see the village hold on to that building. Once a municipality, especially in this economic time, sells a building like that, you never get it back. The money you spend right away. LMC-TV is an integral part of the democratic process because there is no more local paper. There's no more local information available other than LMC-TV. I think it's as basic as a library in a school.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here. We're glad to hear you say that. And of course, LMC would love to have one home and consolidate all offices, administrative as well as production space. And certainly would be convenient. Lots of good food on the avenue. Nobody will starve.
So again, I thank you for the coverage.
Okay,
Chief,
thanks for having us.
Thank you again, and you do a great job every year.
Thanks so
Look forward to it.
Pleasure
Take
to
care.
have you.
See you.
Enjoy the rest of the parade and the carnival. We're going to be watching you. Not too many pints there.
While we were having this conversation, the 2nd Division did start, and the fellow wearing the red sash was past Chief Kevin Delner and his marshal's aide, James Nardier. He went by a few moments ago.
Okay.
And I believe this is the St. Peter's drum corps that we might be looking at here.
Okay. Well, let's just make sure we identify who this is.
It looks like the St. Peter's group.
Okay, and they would be bringing in the Brewster Fire Department.
Correct.
Okay. Once again, sorry, we can't hear what goes on out there, so I hope you folks can hear us. And we're joined in the studio by a familiar face in the village of Mamaroneck, Tom Murphy. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Alice, how are you?
Good.
Ken?
Hello, Tom.
Were you
Nice to
marching
see you
today?
guys. No, I actually watched it go by from Smash Burgers. And then I walked. I was with my son, and we watched it while we had dinner.
Okay, well, lots of good places to have dinner in the village, that's for sure.
There's no shortage of restaurants.
Now, they don't have a second story, did they?
Now, the second story got taken up by Keller's Architect. I used to be on Post Road.
I see. Okay. Yes, that building was empty for a very long time, but now it's quite well occupied.
It's doing really well. They have the yogurt place, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can get your dinner and dessert without walking 20 feet.
Perfect. I know the first day Smashburger opened, I happened to be getting off the train, and they were doing a dance in the street. The whole staff was out there doing line dances. It was very cute.
Yeah. They had some it looked like they were doing calisthenics.
Well, actually, Smashburger is a national chain. I think they started in Denver, and you find them in airports, and every once in a while, I was somewhere around here the other day and noticed another one coming in one of the communities nearby.
What do they call these? Slow fast food. I guess it's supposed to be a step up.
Well, it takes a bit longer to cook, I guess.
Okay, so this is the Brewster contingent. And those folks have come a little distance as well. They're not going to get the award for the longest distance, but we appreciate their being here. And we should certainly appreciate the fact that the weather's held out. What's it like out now?
It's not bad. It's a little muggy, but it's pleasant. It's not overbearingly hot.
Okay, so it looks like we'll get through the...
I think we'll get through it without it. It's not my forte to forecast weather, but it looks like it's going to hold up.
Yeah, well, with all the years we've been doing this, I only remember once having to cancel the parade. Once, where it started to thunder.
And I think I was on a board. That was a few years ago.
It was some time ago. I recall that. But in all those years, and as I said before, I think we've been covering it for about 20 years. I don't think, other than that one year, we've missed a parade. We've been so fortunate.
The sun shines on the village of Mamaroneck.
It does.
There you go.
We haven't gotten a shot of the big American flag that's always hanging over Mamaroneck Avenue. It would be great at some point if we can get a shot.
I don't know
of
if we
that.
got the angle with the camera to catch it.
maybe
It's
not.
a little bit of a bend there on the avenue.
Well, we usually have somebody on a rooftop or somebody in a
Mm-hmm.
truck. This year things got a little complicated as we had to move indoors, but
Yeah.
it's so great. We do have at least 2 cameras out there.
And while we've been chatting, the COSCOB, this is actually the town of Greenwich has a number of different fire companies, and that's mostly what you've been viewing. Look at the size of this one.
But that's an old truck.
It's a Mack truck.
Yeah, it's a Mack truck, but this might have a tank on the back. This might be a water tank. Yeah, looks like one of the water tanks
yeah,
for
you're
the
right.
north end of the district.
Now,
Oh, well, they don't have hydrants?
that's
No
right.
hydrants
well,
in
this
the
is
north
from
end.
Greenwich, and
Yeah,
they wouldn't have
they're north
hydrants.
end of the district. There's a lot of mutual aid with Banksville, which is a New York State fire department,
Okay.
into Greenwich. They do a lot of mutual aid across the border. And same as you move over to Vista and up that way.
It is a shared service across state lines.
Yep, there's quite a bit of it along the
Yeah.
New York-Connecticut line.
Now, Tom, did you grow up in the village of Mamaroneck?
No, I didn't, Alice. I actually grew up in New York City on the west side of Manhattan.
Okay.
I moved up to Mamaroneck in 1990, January 1990. So I've been up here 22 and a half years.
Okay, so you didn't grow up going to the parade, but
No,
you
I
had a
didn't.
lot of time to make up for
I had
it.
a lot of time to make up for it. But you know what? I started coming up to Mamaroneck in 1979 when I was dating my wife. So I've been, involved. I was going to the Firemans Carnival when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. Remember they used to have gambling.
Yes, they did have the wheels,
Yeah.
but along with we still have a wheel, but not as much.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, who are we seeing now?
This bagpipe group here, I think, is the Yorktown Pipe and Drum, and they're leading the town of Mamaroneck, which should be another full contingent we'll probably
I should
discover.
think so.
with
Those folks
all
are
the
definitely
different-
not getting an award for the biggest distance traveled. I'll tell you
Shortest
that.
distance.
Shortest
Well, actually,
distance.
they could bang heads with Harrison. They're not that far away either, actually. That could be an interesting measurement.
It would be very offensive if they didn't come. I mean,
Yeah, really, they could walk here.
Yeah, but
well, I
they
doubt
usually
that
pretty much have all the equipment when they arrive in the Yorktown Pipe and Drum. And Chief Joseph Russo will be leading the group.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
nice
should be
turnout, a
him
nice
right
crowd.
there. That's Chief
Yeah, we
Joseph
remarked
Russo.
on that before, that the street is very well lined.
Yes, it is. It's consistently lined all the way from Smash Burgers to the Post Road. You would think people might have been put off because of the rain this afternoon and the
You know,
threat of
if
rain.
you live in the village, you're not going a long way. If
Right.
it rains, you just duck into a store, and there are so
Right.
many wonderful places to go. That's okay, too.
Sure.
My
Joe probably
favorite-
knows 3/4 of the people are on the curb out there.
He's going to take a long time getting down the street. I could just see it. What fun. What fun. You know, it's a funny thing. You've got the parade, and I don't see police. Now, Tom, you were on the village board. Are there police out?
Yes, there were
Yeah.
police. You know, there were the bicycle police. There's
motorcycle
police
police,
on Palmer Avenue. There's police on Prospect Avenue, right out of your picture frame
And
there.
there's more than likely a contingent in civilian clothes who are not
Yes,
just
I'm sure a
noticeable.
couple of detectives.
Here you go.
Okay, well,
Talk
we've
about
gotta
the
talk-
old timers. Now,
Okay,
there
we
you
gotta
go.
talk about this group. This is
Wow,
the-
look at those horses.
Oh my gosh, is this the Tappan Bridgemen that are going to be leading into that?
Yeah, I don't see anything in my notes to talk about this horse-drawn unit, so I'm not sure where that
But I
drops
would
in.
think they're Germantown, Connecticut. That's what
That
we've
could
got
be,
slated
yeah.
next.
Yeah.
Beautiful draft horses.
Beautiful horses.
Yeah. Town of
Town of
Mamaroneck,
Mamaroneck,
future
future
Oh,
fire.
no
Okay,
kidding. Now
yeah.
that's a surprise. Oh my
There you
gosh.
go.
Who would have thought the town of Mamaroneck had a horse division?
Well, I know we got that horse up there on Scarsdale. I don't know if that's where they
Well, but this
come
is the
from.
first. I mean, I thought
I
we
know.
I've
just-
seen this unit before, but I won't say it's been in our parade, but I've seen this unit
Kinda
from
like a
time to
hayride
time.
they were doing.
Yeah.
What fun for the kids.
It's the town of Mamaroneck fire chief's car.
Yes, that's what we're looking at. Maybe we didn't have a few more notes on the horse drawing.
I know. We're going to
Please.
have to talk to those folks.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a surprise. 'cause
Well, they probably arrived with the town of Mamaroneck, and we didn't necessarily.
I mean, you know, we are so well taken care of by the fire department. Usually Happy Use gives us many
They know.
updates.
Yep.
Of whatever changes there might be.
and I'm sure he gets surprised every once in a while,
I
also.
know. And how do you turn down your neighbors? I mean, how do you turn down those horses? If they show up,
They're marching.
they're marching. For
Well, it was a
sure.
number of years ago. We had Clydales in one of our events some years back. That was quite
They're
a
beautiful
draw.
animals. They're huge.
Yeah, that was a huge.
And they go down to the carnival also for a hot dog and beer?
Absolutely.
All right.
They go on the bullpen down there. And,
You going to keep them out?
no.
Hey, where those horses want to go,
They
they
go.
go.
Exactly.
So the town of Mamaroneck is brought there.
Yep, they've got the whole contingent here.
And of course, their contingent is our contingent, right? We've got
Absolutely.
mutual aid if
Sure.
we need
Back
it.
and forth. Yep.
And I think you work
The
very
town,
closely
yeah.
with the town of Mamaroneck Fire Department.
Yeah. Along with Larchmont.
Even though that they have some paid professionals, but they wouldn't be able to do it without their volunteers either.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, the town of Mamaroneck never did merge with the village of Larchmont. Those are still
Yeah,
two
the-
distinct departments.
Yep. Still
Correct.
two distinct.
I remember that was studied some
It
time
was
ago.
studied some time ago, but politically it didn't work out.
Yeah, tradition always trumps utility a lot of times.
Now, tell me the truth, Tom. Do you like being here in our air-conditioned studio better than being on the street watching the parade?
Oh, now you want the truth? Okay. I like both. You know, it's actually kind of hot in here under the lights, though. To tell you the truth.
People don't know how we suffer.
No, yeah, it's a tough life. But you know, I'm going to go back out to the parade. I have my youngest son with me. We're going to go down to the carnival.
Okay, and how old is he now?
He's about to turn 12.
Oh, so he's still wide-eyed and very enthusiastic.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And he's going into 7th grade. So.
Good. Well, Tom, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks
It's
for
always a
having me.
pleasure to see you,
It's a
and
pleasure to see you, too.
we'll be watching you.
Take care. Bye-bye,
Thanks.
Ken.
Good.
Thanks. Okay, so we're still watching the town of Mamaroneck.
I believe so. We might be, Germantown went by, which could be made part of the Larchmont contingent.
Oh, okay, so they're slated to be next.
Yeah, they were slated to
Oh,
be
and
next. We
there's
just
our
had your
Christi-
picture taken.
Well,
That's
that's
it.
Christine Carino on the
I think
on
that
the.
said Germantown.
on the avenue.
Okay, so we still have the Germantown unit going by.
Okay.
And they didn't give
Oh,
us the personnel
well.
count.
Okay.
So now I believe this is the Tappan Zee Bridgeman.
Oh, our friends in Larchmont hired a band.
Yeah, and this the different outfit they show up in. They got this T-shirts with the flag kind of pattern across it.
Okay, I missed that too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have to remark how different they are once they pass the reviewing stand. Everybody's just so relaxed. Okay, while we're waiting for the next contingent. Oh, wait, Ken, tell me who this is.
This is the Larchmont Fire Department. The end
Larchmont Fire
units
Department.
coming through.
Okay.
This would be the chief cars that are coming by.
Okay. Great. Our friends haven't come a long way, but we're always glad to see them.
Yeah, by all means. Also, on the young lady, the kind of thing that you were using what looked like computers to take pictures.
Oh,
The
she's probably
tablets.
using her iPad, her tablet.
Tablet.
Yeah, life has changed. I wonder how that's changed the fire department.
Well, everywhere we go, those cameras are functioning.
The cameras are functioning, but the communication devices have
Oh,
improved
yes, but what I'm
enormously.
talking, the public is out there where everything we go to, you see people standing around with,
Taking pictures of you.
of equipment, yes.
And of course, so you've got to make sure your
activities.
hair is combed
Yes.
and you've powdered your nose.
Before.
Anyway, we're joined in the studio by Judy Myers, County Legislator. Judy, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
We saw you marching down the street.
Yes.
Not too bad tonight, not too hot.
No, exactly.
Yeah, some nights we've watched people struggle and we feel for you.
I know.
Yeah, of
but
course.
it's better than rain.
Yeah, I think we're going to make it. I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Gosh, all the work that goes into this parade, you'd hate to see it.
I know.
have to be
And there's a
canceled.
good crowd. I think you can see, just even just from the cameras, there is a really good crowd.
Good, good.
And
Well, welcome.
people
Now,
are excited.
now, this is your last parade?
This is my final parade,
Oh,
at
my
least
God.
that I'm marching in.
Okay.
Yeah, ninth as a county legislator, and before that there were 6 as a town board member. So
We're going to miss you. Now,
15 years of marching.
Why are you
5 years
abandoning
before
us?
you can retire. Yeah.
I don't know. She's made her decision. Why are you abandoning us, Judy?
Aw. I am term limiting myself out. I am a real big believer in term limits. And I think I had voted for an 8-year term limit. The board eventually did vote on 12. But for me, this is my 9th year. I think this is a perfect, sort of walk the talk. I was so interested in and advocating on behalf of 8 years, which I think if it's good for the president, it's definitely good for the county legislator. Exactly.
Okay. And what were the challenges that you faced on the board that your successor will have to assume?
Many challenges. Westchester County is in sort of a precarious position right now, And so there have been a lot of challenges, and there will continue to be. We are coming out of the recession, and that's the good news, and we're seeing all sorts of better numbers. But we have a ways to go, and we have, like most large municipalities, we have not done an adequate job of investing in our infrastructure, and that's going to be something that's going to be tough.
Well, of course, Westchester County is also struggling with the affordable housing decision and having to implement that. That's not going
well. In some ways, it's going really well. We had a report today. We're way ahead of schedule in terms of the actual units that are being built, which is really good news to everybody who needs a place to live, an affordable place to live. But there are hiccups. There's some pushback. On both sides. So I think that is a big challenge I think there needs to be some coming together on this, especially with the federal government and with HUD. And I think that needs to happen.
You mean there has to be some modification of the settlement agreement?
No, I don't think this. I think there needs to be a real sit down and a complete understanding between all parties of exactly what are we expected, what are we willing to do, what are we not willing to do. And instead of sort of this sort of battle by press release, which is what's gone on lately.
Well, I thought that Westchester County paid a pretty hefty fine.
We will if we would pay a huge fine if we are found to be out of compliance with the settlement agreement.
And when would
that would double our tax levy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That can't happen. No. And what date would that be implemented?
Well, we're sort of teetering on the edge. Basically, anytime the feds decide to pull the plug, they could, and we need to make sure that we are not teetering on the edge there, and that we are in full discussion and communication and bringing all the parties together. And we have a ways to go, definitely.
Was your tenure on the board what you thought it would be? Did you expect to be dealing with such complex issues?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, because I had worked closely with George Latimer beforehand, so I knew what I was getting into. And it was even better than I expected, and much more intense than I expected, but really, really interesting. It's fascinating.
So it must be very hard to leave.
It is. It is hard to leave, but at the same time, it's good to have new people coming in and new ideas, and I think it's really a healthy thing.
Okay.
Where are we?
We have to look at what's on.
This is,
on our
I believe,
screen.
is the Broad Channel unit, which comes from the other side out where Sandy the storm did all the damage. This is Broad Channel, which is out there, out the other side of Queens, out there.
Oh, okay. And, near the Rockaways.
Look at them
out
dancing.
there. And there's a fun-loving group. I wonder what trophy they're qualifying for.
Most fun.
Best dancers, best break dancers. Great.
Best balance.
There you go.
Judy, while we have a moment, I want to thank you so much, first of all, for your service, and then for dropping by. It's been a pleasure.
It was good to see you.
I know it's a little harder to find us, but we're so glad that you did.
And you know what? In a lot of ways, it's easier because it's not as noisy here as it is out there.
Right. We don't know what you folks at home are hearing, but when we're on the street, we know we can't talk above the bagpipes and the horns.
And the horns.
And the sirens. But we can talk here, and we hope that you're hearing part of it. Judy Myers, thank you again, and we look forward to hearing what you do next.
Okay, great. Thank you, Allison.
Okay,
this looks like the Spirit of 76 that's going to be in front of the Eastchester Fire Department.
Those folks look a little tired.
Yes, I hope that's not a bloody bandana he's got on his head up there.
I think it's to simulate a bloody bandana. I don't think it really is. Oh,
and here's another
favorite,
hand-pulled piece of equipment.
Yes.
Here again, more hose, and that's how they used to move the hose. That's why our firehouses weren't so far apart. Come around behind us, that's all. Just come around behind us.
We have some new dignitaries in the studio tonight. We have representatives of the town of Mamaroneck, Nancy Seligson, Jane Eny, and Ernie Odierna. Oh, is Abby Katz here? I don't. Oh, there you are. Okay, great. I can see you come in. Wonderful. Welcome to you all. Did you have fun marching in the parade? We were watching you.
Yes.
From our air-conditioned perch.
It was a really fun parade tonight. So many people showed up. There were so many great faces, young and old.
Everyone seemed so happy to be there.
Yeah.
And Jane, was this the first time you've marched? Nancy, I know you've been here many times.
Many years, as has Ernie.
Since I've been coming to the parade since I was a teenager, and in fact, I brought my son when he was only 10 days old to his first
and
parade.
he still talks about it, I'm sure. He
Oh
remembers
yeah,
that.
I embarrassed him a great deal. But
It's
that's
just
all
the
right.
beginning. I've told my son I've got years of humiliating you ahead of me.
I'm going to step in just for a minute just to let you know we've started the 3rd Division with past Chief Dean DeLitta and ex-Captain John Carpino, the gentleman with the red slashes on. And we're moving along towards the 3rd Division. There'll be one more after this, so we are moving through the parade. Looks like we got the Westchester Brassmen coming up here.
Can we just comment on the town of Mamaroneck Fire Department,
Absolutely.
which we thought looked the best? Was the best apparatus, the best looking guys.
Well, we are not going
With
to
the best
commit.
marchers, they marched perfectly.
No, but we are so proud of our fire department, and we really appreciate all their hard work, and we're so supportive of them that it was thrilling to see them march by.
Did the entire department come over for the parade, or did somebody
like
stay
it.
home?
It didn't look like too many people stayed home.
I mean, they're
Someone
close
must be-
enough.
Yeah, someone has to be minding the shop.
But they could be home very shortly if they needed to be. They
There
didn't come
was
a long
even
way.
a wagon of future firefighters of all the children.
Yes, that was
They
very.
came out by every generation.
It was
Yeah, they
very
surprised us with that horse-pulled unit.
It surprised us too.
I think they did it last year too.
Well, I think it surprised the officials here because they were not on our list, so we were not
See, the
prepared
town
for
of
them.
Mamaroneck, full of good surprises.
And where do those horses live when they're not marching?
We do not
We
know.
do.
And you would know if you saw them in the town.
Hopefully
That's
not
for
my
sure.
backyard.
And they're not in Petco. We've seen them.
We didn't sell any horse permits this year, so.
Is there such a thing? Oh, okay. I mean, that's a new one on me, Ernie. I don't think I've seen a horse permit. I know you're the leader of making the permitting process easy. Work. Yes, absolutely. You know, it's impossible to predict how many, and we don't know how many people are local or how many people come from a distance. Sometimes when we have a roving camera, we find people have come from parts afar, and not necessarily because they have a relative here. I don't know how they know about it and how they come.
We think that it is really one of the most popular events in the area. It's really a fabulous parade, and then you get a carnival to boot afterwards.
What fun!
A lot of word of mouth.
I
A lot
ran
of word
into
of mouth.
some neighbors. I really do think that there's a regeneration in our community. Lots of young families with young children. I ran into a neighbor with 2 little boys, and I was so delighted to see her here with a couple of friends and their babies in carriages and stuff. And I just thought that was great.
We commented on how many young children and babies there were. So.
I don't know if anybody does any demographics, but from what I see, there's clearly a big turnover in our communities, which is as it should be. To the
While we're
younger
sitting
folks.
here, it looks like we have the Kent Fire Department going by,
yes.
and that's a unit that's the other side of Carmel.
Now, do you
in
folks
there.
get to mix with the firefighters and the officials from other communities? on
We
a
make
night
sure
like
we
this?
go to their parade so we can. Come on.
No, I'm talking to our town board here. I mean, do you folks get to meet people
We
from
do,
elsewhere?
to a certain extent. There's a change of watch, I guess they call it, where the new officers from each one of the local brigades are sworn in, and we get to meet each other.
When we have our installation,
Yeah,
they
right.
invite the firefighters and the chiefs from all the neighboring communities. So we get to meet them at those kinds of events that are special events throughout the year. But at this parade, we don't really get to. We just get to scream and yell for our guys.
Which we did quite well.
Well, you seem to have a little voice left, so you probably didn't give it your all. We're going to ask for a repeat.
Well, we had to save some because we were coming to meet you.
Well, we are so pleased. So tell us, in the few minutes that we have together, what is new in the town of Mamaroneck that you want people to know about?
Let's see. We are working on some good environmental measures in the town of Mamaroneck to save some energy in our ice rink and town center. We're going to have a request for proposals going out very soon to renovate those two buildings, and that will be a great big project for us, but also hopefully produce some great big savings in energy and costs.
I see. So we're going to try to make them green, I think is the appropriate term these days. Yes?
Greener, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, running a
Also
fire.
embarking on a long-range strategic plan,
Yeah.
which is an important initiative. Where we're going to be in the next 5 years, 3 years.
I think we used to call it visioning.
But instead of always just reacting, we're going to try to
do some
move forward,
strategic planning.
And how do you do that?
We started with our survey. A few years ago, we did a survey of residents in the entire town of Mamaroneck and really asked them what their most important values are in the town. What do they value the most? And started to apply those answers to some of our programs and services. And we're working with a consultant who's helping us have discussions about it and then framing it in objectives and goals for us.
Okay.
And it's been pretty good.
Again, I don't know if you've noticed, but
Right,
we've got the Bridgemen in here for the second time.
We've seen them before.
They were earlier in the parade, and now they're
doing a
circling
loop?
Sleepy
I know,
Hollow.
we saw them.
Somebody circled back. There must have been a bus at the post road or something.
Some people are just camera hogs. I don't know.
Wow.
That
Well,
we
very
catapulted
often a
them.
contingent will hire, several contingents will hire the same band to accompany them.
Okay.
Double dipping. I wonder if they get the full fees. We'll have to investigate this. But getting back to your visioning, I recall being on a long-range planning committee for the schools. This was many years ago in the 80s. And the school district did a demographic study that was absolutely worth every penny years ago, because unlike many of our neighboring school districts which sold school buildings which were empty, the Mamaroneck schools did not do that, seeing that the population was going to increase again, and it certainly paid off. So I wonder if you folks are going to do something like that, a demographic study.
Remember, we're not involved with the schools.
Well, no. But knowing what your community is, whether we're graying, whether we're having
we
babies.
did
That was part of our
Yeah.
survey, was part of our survey was an age breakdown of people and whether they intended to live there for a long time or,
How long they
in
have
the
lived
future.
here.
Okay.
Why did they move here? Why did they stay?
Okay.
Do they intend to stay?
Do you
we
ask
had
people
sort
why
of
they've
that.
left?
Well,
No, 'cause
they're
we
not
can't
getting
capture
the
They're not
service.
here.
They're not here.
Yeah, they're gone.
I see.
But we got a lot of good ideas, a lot of things people would like to see. Of course, high on people's thoughts are less taxes and more intermunicipal cooperation. And
And we're a representative government, so we really want to know what the people want from their government so that we can serve them and serve the town better.
Do you find people do? I know Nancy has mentioned that so few people actually come to board meetings these days, and maybe LMC is responsible for that because the board meetings are televised, so anyone who wishes to can watch from the comfort of their own homes.
But don't get to shout at you.
They don't get to shout at you, but that's my question. I mean, do you hear from your constituents?
We hear from them, but not in a formal way as a town board meeting. They call us, they email us, but not enough. We would like to have more feedback from people. At every board meeting, I ask them to please sign up for communication from the town and to address us with any of their issues. But if someone has an issue, I feel that they are contacting us.
Okay, if they have an issue, but
Yeah.
that's always when there's a problem.
Right.
Of
You would
course.
rather have more of a discussion.
And a dialogue over
Right, a
what you're
dialogue.
liking, what you're not liking. That brings me to social networking. Do you know that LMC is on Twitter? And actually, we are on Twitter tonight, and you can check at LMC-TV info. I think some pictures are being posted there if you are of the ilk that you want to tweet. And if you want to tweet to us, perhaps we'll get to read some of your tweets on the air. We're also streaming live. Have we not come into the 21st century?
so
Are you
proud of
impressed?
you.
Are you impressed? Okay, well, but we're here. We started this years ago because I felt there are people who in the community who can't come out to the parade, who do want to be part of it, and I think it's been appreciated for that. So I'm glad to see so many people at the parade. But
It's also good for some of us that we're marching. We don't even get to see the end of the parade, so it's nice.
Do you really watch the parade at home? Do you watch it with kids? Abby, do you have kids?
I have 2 kids, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't know it was out. So now I can have my daughter watch and she can see
Absolutely.
me because I could not get her to come
Well,
out in public.
and you can watch on the website. We are going out live on Cablevision's channel 75 and 76, and Fios, Verizon, channel 35 and 36. But I always say to people, why bother? You can watch us on the internet. Go to LMC-TV.org. We're on demand. Well, you don't even have to do much. Just go to LMC-TV.org, and we're there now.
You're talking through the pipes again.
Oh, I can do that because they're not in my ear. Now, we haven't seen these gentlemen before, have we?
Yeah, they've been to us a few times.
A few times, but tonight
No, this is only the Tappan Zee thing. Unit was the only one. Tappan Zee Bridgman, I believe, was the only repeater.
I see.
This is the Celtic Cross Pipe and Drum.
Okay,
And I believe they're leading off on Darien.
Ken likes to remind me because I have a thing for men in skirts. There's something about it. He knows I just can't control myself. But they really are wonderful. I do love the bagpipes.
And it's so impressive that all these folks come out and are dressed in such intense garb in heat.
That's right.
And they all do so well.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's you dangle the carrot of a trophy. There are something like 100 trophies that are given
Yeah,
out.
if you walk by Chatsworth Storage's window and saw all the trophies in there.
We've
Sometimes
often
we should use that as a cover shot when we
we
start
should.
off.
We'd have to, but the trophies are gone by the time we start.
Well, somewhere a day before or
Yeah.
something, take a shot. But anyway,
Really
The
should.
thing that always amazes me about this parade is the logistics of lining up and getting the people in the right position to join the parade where they're supposed to.
Yep.
Not a casual treat.
no,
And
that takes lots of planning.
We have the marching order, and there is seldom a deviation. And if there is, it's because somebody got caught in traffic on the
Yeah.
Tappan Zee Bridge or something like that, and they simply didn't make it in time. But it happens rarely. People take it very, very seriously. Well, Hap Hughes is in charge of, I guess, overall logistics with a whole lot of other people.
There is a full parade committee that starts tonight for next year.
What worked and what didn't.
I
Yes.
had no sense that there were this many trucks behind us. I mean, we were lined up at Mamaroneck Avenue School, and I don't know where these trucks were all hidden because I didn't see them.
Yeah, well, you usually don't see them all at once. Fortunately, you don't see them all at once.
Well, there are 4 divisions, and this year 34 contingents. And the
Plus
most we've
bands.
ever seen is 39, and that was just one time. This is a pretty significant turnout.
Yeah, this is one of the larger parades body-wise that we've had in quite some time because there's a lot more bands. We've been years where you could hardly hear the next band coming while we're not on the street. But watching the spacing on our list, I don't think that's
And, you know,
happening this
when
evening.
Missing all the sirens, so I didn't know there was such a variety of sirens at each
Well,
apparatus.
you know,
can
we're
make.
actually missing the sirens too. It really is fun to be out.
When we're on the
you know.
street, we have a rule: no voice during
Right, we
bands
don't
and
even know.
sirens.
Yeah, we can't talk over them. But we don't know what folks at home are actually hearing. I mean, we have a wonderful director, Remy Litvin, is directing tonight for the first time. We're losing Remy. He's going to college. I promise all of my high school students, I'm not going to let them graduate, but they always defy me.
Remy has been a devoted volunteer and a wonderful employee at LMC. We're going to miss him.
And he promises he's going to come back. But we will certainly miss him. But he is directing for the very first time tonight, so we
Great.
appreciate all
come
his
back on
Congratulations,
vacation.
Remy.
Well, we're going to get him. What? Pardon?
I just wanted to congratulate him.
Yes.
I think we have something going through called the Saints Brigade. Angels, maybe. I don't know about saints.
It's kind of a high order.
And you see the breeze has picked up, which is
Yes.
so nice because the closer you get to the water, the cooler it actually felt, and that was
actually
welcome.
I'm looking forward to going down to the carnival for a little while today. Well, you folks, I know that you have put in some time, but you've got a night left to go. You've got a couple of awards to give out. We're going to go down to the carnival for a bit and meet your colleagues. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I really
Thank
do
you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Yes,
Thank you for
and
coming
thank you
again.
for covering the parade.
It's our pleasure. We look forward to it every year. So come back. We promise to see
forward
you
to it.
next year. Thanks.
Thanks, Alice.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a beer for me while you're there.
Yeah, nobody's giving us any beer in the studio. I keep waiting for somebody to slip something into our water.
Thank you. I hope you're not live on camera, do you?
No. Oh, I know, really. I have powder. I have loose powder. Oh, this I've got. You sit here for a couple hours. Okay, Ken, what are we looking at now?
I think this is a unit called the Yonkers Military Band. And they're leading off for Ossining. And Ossining, I think, is one of those places that departments hadn't been coming as recently, but be interesting to see how many folks. They used to be one that always competed for the most men in line.
Right, I remember they used to come with a very large contingent.
Look at this lineup just for the color guard. That's a pretty tight pack.
Yes.
They got a dozen, almost, well, they want. They're
quite serious.
Yeah, they're quite serious. And they're not casual.
No, the white gloves. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of that tonight. Very, very impressive. All right, well, while we're waiting for them to step off, let's welcome our newest guest in the studio, Ann McAndrews, Mayor of the Village of Larchmont. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ellen.
Ann, is this your first parade?
Oh,
you've got
really?
lots of formerly little boys.
yes, 4 boys and a girl. I can promise you, this is not my first my first parade. First one is mayor.
First one is Mayor of the Village of Larchmont. Well, thank you for stopping by. You didn't have any trouble finding us, did you?
Not at all.
Oh,
not at
good.
all. I've been here in the studio before.
Okay. Well, we are sitting at the corner of Mamaroneck Avenue and Prospect,
right.
and we actually have trouble keeping people away, but I'm delighted at how many people have stopped by tonight.
Well, it just started raining.
Did it?
Oh, no.
Is that why I've noticed the crowd is thinned out over across the street there, so...
Oh, I hope that we can just get through it. Maybe it's just
sprinkling.
Well,
we don't have much left to go, so this could be...
Let's hope, yes. Where are we, Ken? What contingent are we
It looks like we're about to reach the 4th Division. I don't think it's come up yet, but we're about to reach that. I think we're somewhere where it says Rockville Live Engine 28. I think I haven't seen a flag on one of the units yet, but I think that's about where.
Well, if we saw Ossining, next is Greenberg.
And it could be Greenberg.
Yeah, I haven't seen their signs to be able to tell for sure, but they would.
But I noticed the crowd is lightened up in front of. There's Ossining. Oh, we're still at Ossining.
We're still at Ossining.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of the crowd sign? I know you were watching from the street before.
It was pretty heavy.
Yeah,
very, very heavy. I was down by the CVS by the stand.
By the reviewing stand.
stand, and on the microphone and the speaker announcing each of the.
Did you notice how uptight everybody was as they approached the reviewing stand?
Yes, because I noticed the 3 judges out front with their...
yeah, well, that's where the judging goes on.
Can you explain who are those judges?
Well, most all of them are members of the Village of Mamaroneck.
That's right.
The people, we have different musicians they bring in to judge the bands, but they're usually local residents that have a musical background expertise. A couple of them were music teachers at the schools and stuff. I'm not sure of the current staff, but
I noticed
we draw on those folks, and they, give out those trophies, and they're very serious about
it's a very serious competition.
Not only that for that, but even among the judges and themselves, because once this parade is over, they adjourn to the firehouse up by the post office, and they sit around and go through their sheets and their check-offs and deciding who's going to get which trophy. So,
what are the trophies?
Oh, there's 100 of them.
Yes, I noticed.
Well, begin with this. You get best appearing overall, then you get a best appearing, then you get most men in line, and then we have regulation uniforms, non-regulation uniforms.
I saw a bit of both.
Then the bands get their own music grouping awards, and then we have trophies for fun things like furthest distance, best looking antique. So there's quite a contingent of them. When they get down to Harbor, it takes them about 15, 20 minutes to issue out all the trophies that they have down there and read off the winners.
I want to know, as mayor, do you get to wear one of the Historical Society's hats? With the flames.
I have to tell you that when the children were younger, when they had the regulation dinners and the whole company came out with the red shirts and the hats, of course, were lit. And what do they use? Is it a little like what do they use up there? What is it? It was kerosene. Some of them can get considerably high flames, and the parade was always just at dusk.
Yeah, that was the best time.
And it was really fabulous. Now, tell me, other than being able to see your way into a place that doesn't have lighting, was that the reason for those?
That
or was
the
it
only
strictly
reason
decorative?
that I'm ever, because to begin with, those helmets go back to the turn of the century.
Oh, no question.
Before we had all these spotlights and generators and all this other stuff. So by night, you would have some visibility. But those things could start a fire as well.
Yes,
but I think they were really more ceremonial.
Well, they're fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
And every once in a while, you'll find one on eBay, but not often. But there's not a lot of them left out there. And the other thing is parts. As they wear
they
out
age,
the parts
yes.
and they age,
I
things
didn't
like
think
that.
they were all that complicated, but Anne, I'm looking forward to seeing you in one. As mayor, I think you should have the opportunity to wear one to a board meeting.
At some of them, I may need a flamethrower at some of these
Well, it
meetings.
adds new meaning to hot hat.
Yes, a hot head. Hot head.
Oh gosh. Well, while we have you here, we've met our friends in the town of Mamaroneck, and we've had representatives from the village of Mamaroneck. Of course, they've been very involved in running the parade. What is happening in the village of Larchmont now? I know you've been very consumed with a new streetscape that you've been trying to implement. Tell us what the status of that is.
Well, the status is that, as you know, you go out for bid and you take a contractor who has the lowest responsible bid. And what happened within the last 2 weeks is that we have felt very strongly, our engineers and our attorneys, that our contractor has been in default. And so we told him that, and we have notified the surety company because, as you know, in any of these projects, and this is about a $1.6 million project, you get a performance bond. In other words, his performance is insured. And so we've also informed the surety. And so that's really where we are on this. And
so will you be getting a new contractor?
That's up to the surety company.
Okay.
And you mentioned about the red hats just earlier. Well, one of the members of that company, and very active in the Historical Society, and a former trustee and a former member of the Larchmont Volunteer Fire Department, is Ned Benton. And being so active in the Historical Society, he sent me an email today saying, please remind everybody that the contractor for the original Village Hall and for the renovation, one being in 1922 and the other one being in the mid-1990s, were both held in default. They both had to go to the surety.
So
we kind of had this historical perspective to the whole procedure of having to take the lowest bidder and then bearing the consequences.
Well,
so really that's where we are.
As we sit here looking at Mamaroneck Avenue in the village of Mamaroneck, I recall we did a streetscape. Because I happen to live in the village of Mamaroneck, did a streetscape plan, which of course was very painful to plan, to implement, and it must be about 10 years ago.
I think it's maybe slightly longer than that, but it takes a long time. I'm sure you remember what happened when you took down some trees.
There are always problems, right?
And the trees that have started to be taken down, of course, people were just shocked because one always is when you round a corner and the tree isn't there anymore. We've had arborists, we've had landscape architects, each and every tree. We are replacing more than we're taking out. And we just have to ask for a little patience.
Sure. Well,
maybe a little mercy.
But I asked people to look at Mamaroneck Avenue because, of course, when those trees came down, all the trees on Mamaroneck Avenue came down, and the objective was to put wires underground, which was done.
Which you did. We weren't able to do that.
But the street looked so barren for so long; it was really heartbreaking, and you wondered what have we done.
And you took down all the trees.
That's right. Well, not me personally, but
yes. No, yes, you did. Alice, I saw you out there with a hatchet that they had been walking by this.
Well, we were on the planning board then.
Sure
Yes,
we were.
we were planning it, and when you see it, you wonder, what have we wrought? Is this the right thing? And as I was walking down Mamaroneck Avenue, I was just, I guess, late spring, and the trees had
They're
come
all in blossom.
But they've also grown in. It's just probably 10 years, and it looks so beautiful.
You have to pick your type of tree very carefully.
Yes.
And not only have we picked them carefully because we have some trees under wires, and you have to plan for that. You have to plan for Con Ed cutting within 10 feet of its wires. And we have trees that are not under wires. But they're all planted in small, containers at the top that go into a sidewalk. And tree roots and sidewalks are not friends to each other.
Right, those roots start to push up
And
the sidewalks.
they push up. As a matter of fact, last weekend I was in downtown Bethesda. Of course, my children always say, you cannot travel with Mom. She always gives you an infrastructure lecture. I'm seeing all these trees and the roots sort of doming up all the very nice Federalist look.
It's a Federalist look, but it's also
bricks.
a liability. People fall.
Yes, we have to be very, very careful.
And so, those things have to be considered.
So this will be done. It's going to take time. We plan to finish it in 5 months. That's not going to happen this year. We also plan very carefully to do the sidewalks in front of the merchants during this very dead retail period during
it's quieter.
July and August. That's a promise we've made. Now, it's not going to happen this year, most probably, But these are sidewalks that are going to be done eventually. I can't guarantee when it's going to finish, but it is a project that we promised to do.
And is the community taking this in stride, or are they?
No, they are not. I think a lot of people had a huge amount of misinformation. They thought we were taking down every tree that there was. We're taking down like 29. We're leaving over 40. We're replacing 35. We're putting 35 new ones in. We're taking very good care of them. We're using a special soil called a Cornell mix.
Now, is this going on Palmer Avenue as well as on the Boston Post Road?
No, this is just Palmer and parts of Chatsworth and Larchmont Avenue in about a block, as we would say. So, sometime
people are very invested in their community.
Yes, and I think that's good. But you know what else? We're going to be putting up a clock.
Where?
In that little triangle right by the movie house.
Oh, on Palmer Avenue.
Right.
Because everybody needs to know what time it is.
Oh, well, especially when
we are moving into the fourth division.
Right.
Here.
We do have to remember we're watching.
We are watching a parade.
Oh, another.
Yeah.
Oh, my girlfriend. Well, I do too, and I look forward to hearing them. I just don't hear them here today, but I love seeing them. And what's the name of this group?
This is the Westchester County Police Emerald Band.
They also march in our Memorial Day parade.
Yeah, they cover quite a lot of the activities here in the county. They make most of the major and not so major events.
So they should be leading in the Elmsford.
Yes,
contingent.
I believe they're the head of the Elmsford. We missed the Marching Cobras while you were chatting about the new project.
Okay. Well, it's an important project, and I know that when it's done, people will be very relieved. I know.
It
Small
does
town.
look like the weather has
happy,
chased away the crowd.
I think you should have a parade.
Well, we almost did on Memorial Day, and it was the Thursday before Memorial Day, which is historically the day we do it. But just as we were about to push off, we had these absolute downpours, and everyone scattered until we canceled. We canceled about 10-15 minutes before the parade was to begin. Of course, at 7 o'clock, everything cleared. I was standing out on the sidewalk after we had put the wreaths on our war memorials, eating my hot dog, of which we had hundreds. And
did you feel a personal obligation to deal with this?
It was my fault. But we hadn't canceled the parade once in over 26 years. So I think parades are strong enough to go.
Well, as you can tell here, you have to believe, because there was a lot. If you listen to the weather report, the parade should have been canceled.
We've thinned out the crowd. You can see when they see the streets, the crowd is pretty much down.
But certainly by now, anyway, we're almost at the end of the parade, and those little children get a little cranky.
Yeah, but we've thinned out that crowd, and you're just seeing a few umbrellas and whatnot.
Well, I hope people are at home watching us, live streaming
on
the internet and broadcast on Cablevision Channel 75 and 76 and Verizon Channel 35 and 36. And thank you so much for stopping by. I hope it's been fun for you, too.
It has been. I love a parade, and I love parade pipes, and I really, especially after the tragedy of the firefighters being lost in the West, to understand really how courageous each and every one of these men is, and you know that every single one of them, men and women, will step up if necessary. That's why we honor them at these parades and allow them to show their wares and walk with pride. And I think firemen are pretty wonderful people.
Absolutely.
Thank God for them.
Thank you for the comments.
We certainly cherish them here, and I think that's part of the tribute that the parade is to the firefighters in our area, and that's why it gets larger every year almost, and why we put so much energy into it. And
it's a wonderful tradition for the village.
Yeah. You know? And actually, if you notice closely, all of our surrounding departments that touch on our borders were here tonight.
Yes,
absolutely.
We had Larchmont, we had the town, Scarsdale, which touches on the town. We had Rye, we had Harrison, we had Portchester, which doesn't necessarily touch us, but is
they're close. They're
close by, and we're mutual aid operations. But every one of them in the immediate area were here, and then we reached out to places like Bodega. Did I pronounce that one? Pagoda. I get it yet. A few more years and I'll get to it. Totawanda was here. And then we had those two gorgeous white horses pulling the youngsters that'll eventually join the fire department.
It was lovely. Thank you very much for
You're
having me
welcome.
here.
Thanks for finding us. Great to see you. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
We have Elmsford going by, and then we have the White Plains Volunteer Fire Department, which is an interesting operation.
Oh, yes, and why is that, Ken?
Well, I don't know how much actual firefighting the White Plains Volunteer Fire Department actually participates in.
Is there a paid
there is
fire
an
department?
Yeah, White Plains is a heavily paid fire department. And I really don't want to get into politics at a parade, but I was surprised that they were among us. Here you go, White Plains Fire Department, organized. I can't quite read it.
Okay. Well, we're coming towards the end of the parade, but we're delighted to have another guest in the studio. Andre, I'm so glad to see you from the village of Mamaroneck. I'm so glad. Was this this was the first parade you've marched in?
Well, the first Independence Day parade. I've marched in a few already.
Oh, okay. But here in the village?
Yeah, St. Patrick's
right.
and
You have a legacy here.
Yeah, St. Patrick's and Veterans Day.
Okay.
But this is the only one with rain.
Right, now, but you also have a legacy. You were involved in firefighting or in security?
Civil Air Patrol. We marched in
That's
the last Veterans Day parade in the village.
Okay.
Lots of fun.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, this is a special parade for us. I mean, first of all, usually the weather is wonderful, the crowds are terrific, and everybody's so happy to be here. It's not too hot. You haven't marched in 20 parades by now. It's the beginning of the season, I guess.
Well, I was just out there, and people still seem very happy,
very excited,
very pleased. It's a little rainy, but the weather held pretty much the whole time, and the rain helps with the heat a little.
Yeah, it did get quite muggy earlier today.
It did.
But, I give everybody credit because, I don't know, if it were me, I might have canceled with the predictions being for thunderstorms. You just don't want to endanger anybody.
I've walked in some where we got pretty wet, so they don't always give up on them.
I guess, we're looking at firefighters who are pretty, they earn their heroism, let's just say that. So what's a little rain?
These are hardy folks marching.
And this looks like local 21 bagpipe band. So.
Okay, so we understand the party's yet to come down at Harbor Island. So do you get
it's kicking a little.
Oh, okay. It's starting. Well, I understand it goes up way into the wee hours.
It does.
Although I have to admit, I sort of walk through the carnival, and I'm usually home by midnight. I don't know if they have any requirements. Do they have to tie things up by midnight or so? Or?
I don't think we have to, but most of the guys. Tomorrow happens to be a holiday, but in many occasions, folks have to get up and go to work the next day.
Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. So tell me, Andre, how have you liked being on the village board? I mean, this is you were elected last November, and this is your first term.
It is. It's been very rewarding. I'm very proud to be able to serve the people of Mamaroneck as best as I can.
And so what kinds of challenges are you involved in now?
Well, right now we're got some zoning issues, land use issues coming up with the new draft of the local waterfront revitalization plan. That's going to be interesting. We've also got some minor changes to the zoning law that we're working on. Make things easier for residents. That's our main goal with zoning.
Easier in what way?
Well, things like we're looking to change the definition for pavement for parking, so that you can have a gravel driveway, things like that.
Oh, okay.
Just some people, there were some changes to the law, and some people were affected, and so we're fixing some things.
Okay, and what is your what objectives have you? The particular goals you'd like to achieve on the board?
Well, I think we've achieved a lot so far. We've got new roof on Harbor Island Park. That's something we ran on.
On the pavilion?
On the pavilion, yes. We're also Harbor Master's office, Halstead Firehouse. We're sort of on a new roof kick. Also made government a bit more transparent, which is always good. But
now, in New York City, there's so much talk about preparing for the next Hurricane Sandy. Is the village of Mamaroneck also discussing what to do? I think it was our Governor Cuomo, who said, let's leave politics out of this, but 100-year storms seem to be happening every 2 years. So let's not pretend that it's not going to happen again.
That's true. We're moving forward with the Army Corps of Engineers on their plan. That should be coming out soon. I'm not sure the exact date. Okay. But it's something that the village is working on very hard to find a better fix to the problem of river flooding. I think our people are prepared. I think they showed that they were prepared in the last 2 storms. Our hardworking fire, EMS, and police who worked their butts off during those storms. Right now, I know the state is actually, the law was passed. I believe it's awaiting the governor's signature to allow members of emergency services to take leaves of absence from their day jobs when there's a declared emergency. Okay. So now our firemen and so forth won't be missing out on work.
That looks like a raindrop's hitting on the street.
Oh, yes, it does look like. But we are almost at the end of the parade. Excuse me, Andre, but
I do think we've just about finished up.
Did we see Garrison yet?
I'm not sure if the Garrison rig came through, but I haven't seen any more equipment coming.
Usually, Village of Mamaroneck comes down the street with a great flourish.
Yes, but as I say, we've about cleaned off the street, it looks like.
It does look like.
And that looks like a police car there.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that we may have reached the end of this year's
pretty much, the end.
parade.
Although we'll let Andre stay with us while we wrap it up. But it looks like we're at the end. I don't know if we were able to ever get a shot of the big American flag that hangs over.
I don't think it's hanging because
maybe in the rain.
The storm warning, we might have taken it down because that's a lot of flag if the wind gets it.
Yes, that could be a problem, I suppose. And I don't think it's
the other
supposed to
thing
fly
is
in the
what
rain
happens.
anyway.
Well, that doesn't hurt them, but it has a tendency to really wrap tightly around that line that we hang it from. So decision may have been made to take it down. Instead of being up there in a 50-mile-an-hour gale wind trying to
best to
secure
take it down. Well, I was reading through our website. What did we do before websites? For so many years, as we were covering the parade, we would be looking for historical information. And, we'd get little pieces of it from some of the senior members of the department. But I was reading something on the website that I just have to remark on. It says, for 129 years, the all-volunteer Mamaroneck Fire Department has provided residents of the village of Mamaroneck with fire protection. The 5 fire companies, Hook and Ladder Company No. 1, Mamaro Engine and Hose Company No. 1, Columbia and, Mamaro No. 1, No. 4, number 1, and then Columbia Engine and Hose Company No. 2, Volunteers Engine and Hose Company No. 3, and Halstead Manor Engine and Hose Company No. 4 operate out of 4 fire stations with over 200 volunteers. The Mamaroneck Fire Department operates with 5 engines, 2 aerial trucks, 2 utility trucks, 3 chief's vehicles, and 1 fireboat.
Absolutely.
And we are grateful for them all.
Yay for us.
Yes, well, it's not a small thing to do. I also see on the website that the Ladies Auxiliary, which is a small but very hardy group, is planning a tag sale.
Yes, I'm aware that it's coming. I don't know the details.
Well, it's in September. September 16th, as I understand, 15th and 16th. And if you want to know more, please check out the website. They are looking for donations. Mm-hmm. So a very important cause.
And not old firefighters, by the way.
No, I don't think that would be a big saleable item. Well, it looks like the parade is just about over. And, the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Thank you, Andre, for controlling the weather that way. I mean, I know that you had something to do with it.
It's one of those things that the Board of Trustees does.
I never realized how powerful, in fact, you were. Ken, as always, it's a pleasure to be with you. And we have a date once a year, although we talk sometimes a little bit. I want to take a moment to thank all the folks at LMC who've made this happen, especially Bob Moretti, who's been our producer and behind the scenes doing everything and going with the flow. Matt Sullivan, Xavier Campo, Eric Lewis, Remy Litvin, our very dedicated new director tonight. Dina Schumacher, who does everything. Thank you, Dina. We've had Louis Simons, of course, Ken, my buddy here, Kevin Duarte, Felix Giordano, Siobhan Mosley, Jack Saraceno, Vicky Struss, Julia Gaffney. Who am I forgetting? Brian Kerr was here. We have a breakdown crew coming in. Christina Carino Forrest, who's been here all evening, in fact. And I know we usually see the Curleys later tonight. Once again, I think that we've done it, Ken.
I believe so.
I
Another
believe we have.
successful evening.
Another beautiful.
And we didn't get wet.
No, I tell you, it's a hard job, but somebody's got to do this. We actually enjoy being out in the fray with everyone else, but we hope that you've enjoyed the parade tonight, and we are so grateful to be able to bring it to you.
Yes, we hope you've enjoyed this slightly different presentation from not having the bands and the sirens at our ear, and our interpretation of what you've seen on the screen. So I hope you've enjoyed it.
And if you'd like to tweet us, do so, please, at LMC-TV info. But do watch us online at LMC-TV.org. For LMC-TV and for everyone behind the scenes who make us look as good as we do, I'm Alice Bloom, and with me,
Ken Barron, thank you.
Thank you, and good night.